In most cases, when people hear the word clone, they immediately think of human cloning. Since cloning technology was developed for cloning sheep and pigs from the beginning, it gradually became clear that it was not intended to create things similar to humans but rather to treat human diseases. Since cloning technology was developed for cloning sheep and pigs from the beginning, it gradually became clear that it was not intended to create things similar to humans but rather to treat human diseases. Consider how many people's lives will be altered if cloned limbs or internal organs can be developed. In fact, the debate over cloning has never ended from a medical standpoint. Earlier human regeneration technology was referred to as cloning in another sense. Despite advances in cloning technology, the viscera, which is as important as the kidney, is nearly impossible to reproduce, and even if it were, reinstalling it in the human body through human regeneration technology would be nearly impossible due to the difficulty. The so-called human body regeneration technology is the concept that when a human organ is detached from a person, the organs that are detached from the body are medically cultivated by medical means and then reinstalled in the person. It is referred to as medical human regeneration technology. Xiao Qingrong began researching this topic because there is nothing to do while he is in the hospital, and he also wants to figure out how to fix himself. Unlike others, he has an advantage because he has the learning space. Not only is he able to dissect other people's bodies, but he can also replace the patient's removed items, and as he continued to experiment, Xiao Qingrong became more interested in this area. While his physical body recovers on the bed, his spirit has learned about cloned kidneys in the system's virtual learning space. As 618 previously stated, this so-called virtual learning space can simulate anything you want to learn. Everything is possible as long as you are willing to learn. 618 simply did not know what to say as it looked at its own host, who was insistent on learning despite his injuries. Jiangnan Entertainment Company Limited is also looking into the Ji family's business dealings. As a result, they discovered Ji Yizheng, the director's illegitimate child, had kidney failure at a young age. This does not sound too bad, but in the later stages, kidney replacement is required. They discovered who was working behind the scenes as a result of this. You don't have to worry about it, I'll speak with Director Ji. Son, Xiao. We can't accomplish much with our limited resources, but it's better to fight for some benefits for Qingrong. After seeing this situation, Mr. Zhou realized that even if this matter became public, it would hurt Xiao Qingrong. The best approach is to frame this as a threat to Director Ji. It will depend on the circumstances whether to request money or something else. Sun Shimin has a dark complexion as well. She understands that President Zhou meant it for the sake of Xiao Qingrong, but she still felt it was unfair to Xiao Qingrong. Because it is simply unacceptable for a man to lose his kidney in this manner. Sun Shimin, on the other hand, knew that what President Zhou said was already the best solution. President Zhou, please inform Qingrong of this situation. I've been investigating these matters lately and haven't seen him at the hospital. I'm going to see him today. Go see Director Ji if he agrees. If he refuses to agree, and he does not agree, the company and Director Ji will most likely become adversaries. Director Ji is, of course, a director. If this occurs, he must not be stable in that position. President Zhou looked at Sun Shimin's words, and his face showed determination, which made Sun Shimin feel relieved. It has only been 4 days since Xiao Qingrong was admitted to the hospital. Everything has been thoroughly investigated by the Jiangnan Entertainment Company. Sun Shimin returned to the hospital and saw Xiao Qingrong finish her meal. Qingrong, since returning to the company, I've been investigating your affairs. Now the results have come out. Your father, Wei Shuoqin, lied to you. He has no kidney disease at all, and his behavior is also because he was instructed. The person who instructed him was Ji Yizheng, the illegitimate son of the director of the TV station. I want to ask what you plan to do, whether it is to bring up the truth or use this to make a profit. The company will do what you want it to. If Director Ji wants to save Ji Yizheng, it is estimated that he will suffer big time. Xiao Qingrong, after hearing this, also understood Sun Qimin's meaning. Thinking of everything that had happened before, he was very interested in the so-called Ji Yizheng. However, since Ji Yizheng has such a background, even if the truth is exposed at this time, Director Ji will just have to step down, and Ji Yizheng will lose his current status, but to him, that isn't considered punishment. True punishment is to allow Ji Yizheng to continue to have hope, which is then mercilessly destroyed in front of him. Sister Sun, who is Ji Yizheng's preferred director? Even if our company exposes it, it won't do much, and we'll have to fight a lot, so this method won't work, and President Zhou will be very upset about it. Isn't my life worth something? He also showed a weak smile, which made Sun Qimin even sadder. The thought of Xiao Qingrong's pain was heartbreaking, but the true perpetrator was not above the law. It gave Sun Qimin a profound sense of powerlessness. Impunity is the absence of punishment or freedom from the harmful consequences of an action. Understanding the child's compromise, and the more he understood, the more uncomfortable Sun Qimin was. Qingrong, I know what you mean. I will tell President Zhou about this matter. President Zhou has been busy because of your business for several days and didn't dare to sleep. This choice is also not bad. Xiao Qingrong smiled weakly, although the wound on his body was still faint, and he didn't care much about it. Ji Yizheng had a plethora of strategies for dealing with this individual. Sister Sun, I will definitely need to take a long rest because of this situation, as you have already told me. Although public opinion is now on my side, this kind of thing still happens, so I definitely can't go out for the short term. It seems that I will need to hide for a while. In 4 years, this body has made a lot of money as super fresh meat. Jiangnan Entertainment Company is not a cannibalizing company and even takes special care of Xiao Qingrong. In 4 years, in addition to the medical expenses for his mother, Xiao Qingrong has also amassed more than 50 million in his hands, but this is not enough for Xiao Qingrong. Well, then, I will tell these things to President Zhou for you. Now that the media are watching, President Zhou can't come to see you. When you are discharged from the hospital, please take care of yourself and stay healthy. Don't do anything to hurt yourself. Holding Xiao Qingrong's hand, Sun Qimin was really worried, afraid that this child would do something unthinkable. Xiao Qingrong could also feel the kindness released by this woman, but he seemed a little indifferent. After the two said a few words, Sun Qimin also left the ward, but before she did, she handed Xiao Qingrong his phone. Because such a big thing happened, there were headlines about Xiao Qingrong everywhere. Now that things have gradually faded, Sun Qimin let Xiao Qingrong get on Weibo, mainly because Xiao Qingrong seemed to be really bored. As he opened the phone and logged into Weibo, he saw the hot news on Weibo and the increasing number of private chats. Xiao Qingrong glanced at these 80 million followers, and his lips were raised. Is this the feeling that a person would experience when they are in the spotlight and are filled with the love of so many people? When Xiao Qingrong opened Weibo, he saw numerous messages from fans asking how he was. The outpouring of concern and worry from the fans made Xiao Qingrong feel strange. He had never received such love and attention. Before 618, was that guy content? When Xiao Qingrong spoke, his expression was strange and complicated. Yes, Dr. Xiao, the host, admitted that he had never been a celebrity, but he was content. Despite gradually accepting that Dr. Xiao was the altered personality of its own host, 618 believed the two were completely different people. Unlike this person, the host's heart is very soft, despite his constant frown. 618 is terrified for no apparent reason, despite his constant smile. Oh? Really? Xiao Qingrong removed the complex expression from his face and narrowed his eyes once more. Maybe he wants to be needed by someone. He'll be easily duped as long as someone tells him they'll stick by him and always believe him. 618, do you think it's extremely stupid? The gentle voice was very calm, but 618 couldn't figure out why his voice was full of ridicule and remembered its own lonely smile. No. I'll always go with the host. I also require a host. He's my sole host. I will never abandon him. For the first time, 618 overcame its fear and reasoned with this somewhat intimidating man, wanting to tell him how it has already been decided, even though it wasn't long before it was born. It only requires one host, no matter how long it is. Hee. When he heard this, Xiao Qingrong laughed and nodded earnestly. Okay, then remember your promise today, don't abandon him, because lying to him will make him very sad. The term schizophrenia refers to the stimulation of some type of personality in the original personality, resulting in the birth of another personality. This is the case of Dr. Xiao. He knows about everything that has happened with his master personality. Since he knows it, he understands it even more, and even if his master's personality is covered up, he cannot fully cover up the personality. Looking at the inquiries and concerns of these fans on the phone, Dr. Xiao only felt ironic. These were obviously not his, but he still felt happy because of the existence of these people. After closing Weibo, Dr. Xiao no longer continued to watch. Since this body has been given to him, it should listen to him and be under his control. Soon afterward, President Zhou contacted Director Ji, and in the end, Sun Qimin brought the latest news. To protect his illegitimate son, Director Ji chose to be private. Other than the compensation of the TV station for their Jiangnan Entertainment Company, Xiao Qingrong was compensated in private for $500 million. Of course, he was reluctant to give that much money, but Mr. Zhou had too much evidence in his hands, so Director Ji had no choice but to compromise. When Xiao Qingrong knew about this after half a month, Ji Yizheng had already been sent abroad. Listening to Sun Qimin's explanation, Dr. Xiao did not really want the $500 million. Sister Sun, I know Zhou is always good to me, so he gave me this, but what I want is not this $500 million. Although it will take me several years to earn it, I really don't want to take it. Also, since I can't work for 2 years, the contract I signed with the company can't be fulfilled, so I won't be taking this $500 million. Moreover, who knows whether this money is dirty? Dr. Xiao does not want it. When Sun Qimin heard Dr. Xiao's words, she knew that the child was grateful. The company was getting better and better when Mr. Zhou signed the contract. Now, this kind of thing has happened. This child still thinks about the company, so how is it possible for Su Qimin to not be happy? It's okay, just take it. President Zhou told me to bring it to you, and although you may have to rest for 2 years, the contract on the company's side is still there. I didn't cancel the contract with you. When you come back 2 years later, you can still make money for the company. If it were someone else, they would have already taken this $500 million and done whatever they liked with it. However, this silly child is still worried about the company, causing Su Qimin to not know whether to laugh or cry. That's fine. Dr. Xiao nodded, intending to put the money to good use later. 1 month later, Xiao Qingrong's private life was made public for the first time on the internet. Jiangnan Entertainment Company made Xiao Qingrong's situation public via the internet. The fans were relieved when they learned that Xiao Qingrong was recovering, but when they learned that he would be recovering for 2 years, they were devastated. Who could be happy if their idol vanished without a trace? On the contrary, those passers-by were very satisfied to hear this result. After all, Xiao Qingrong did such a thing that many people did not have a good impression of him. In addition, Sun Qimin also controlled Dr. Zhao's Weibo and posted the first Weibo after the incident. Xiao Qingrong, I have been out of danger and am recovering in the hospital. For my previous actions, I would like to express my deepest apologies to my fans. I should not have done that out of impulse, and it has caused a bad impact on the public. This is my mistake. For a while, I will take a long rest. I will temporarily leave the entertainment industry for a while, and I hope that the next time I return, I can make things better for everyone. This is a more official statement. Fans are a bit helpless after seeing it and have left messages, but they also know that the matter has come to an end, and they cannot help but accept it. After all, a star has done such a thing that it is only natural for him to have to leave the entertainment industry. After all, stars are role models for many people. Even smoking is unacceptable, let alone self-harm. If someone imitates it, the consequences will be disastrous. Dr. Xiao didn't care about all the rumors outside. He was obsessed with cloning kidneys and spent every day learning in system space. He didn't have time to be concerned about what was going on outside. But, after what happened in the learning space, 618 was left speechless. Observing this man in a white coat, gold silk spectacles, and meticulous hair, he was sitting at a simulated table for dinner, and his satisfied expression suggested that the meal was delicious. Even if 618 is just a system, when looking at this scene, it also seemed to think that the meal was delicious. Otherwise, the other party would not like it so much. Everything in this learning space is simulated. What's so delicious? Dr. Xiao had just finished an operation when he abruptly stated that he wanted to eat something here, which perplexed 618. Dr. Xiao is holding a knife and a fork. At the moment, he appears to be eating real Western food rather than simulated food from space. He sat gracefully and moved with grace. He cuts the food on the plate slowly. There was no sound from him, and then the food was placed in his mouth, and he showed a happy expression. Dr. Xiao disliked talking during meals. He laughed after eating the virtual food on the plate and slowly picked up the black handkerchief to wipe his mouth. Everything in this space is simulated by Dr. Xiao using his own imagination. To put it plainly, in this system of learning, there are only things you can't think of and nothing you can't learn. Things that can't be done in reality can be done here. Why not eat it in the real world? It doesn't make much sense to eat here. 618 continues to ask and suddenly misses its host. He is at least much better than Dr. Xiao. Although he always caused it to see various mosaics, at least the host does not do this. Everything is simulated in this learning space, and even if it looks real, it is just based on human imagination, so how is it delicious? Dr. Xiao got up from the chair, waved his hand, and everything in front of him disappeared. He then stretched out his slender fingers to fix his glasses. 618, these are fake. Even if the system software simulates human taste, I can still distinguish if it is real or not. Dr. Xiao has worked hard to control himself, according to his understanding. Why should the actual body suppress itself in system space if it can't eat its favorite tasty food? Dr. Xiao is fascinated by his character. In addition, I haven't had such delectability in a long time. You will not want to eat anything else after tasting these. To be able to taste good food, I will do anything. Dr. Xiao was talking, and his voice became an aria. 618 didn't know why, but it suddenly had a feeling of inexplicability. As he remembered the time that this man had found out that his kidney was gone, he began to study the cloning of kidneys. 618 originally thought that he was studying this because he wanted to become a superstar and complete the mission as soon as possible, but now, it seems that this is not the case. Please accept my apologies, Dr. Xiao. For what exactly are you studying? I'd like to find out. Dr. Xiao was recreating the incubation room, donning his own disinfection gloves, and raising an eyebrow when he heard this. Of course, my body has turned into a star, and doing anything is extremely inconvenient. Because it's inconvenient, I'll have to adopt a more convenient identity, like a scientist or something. Do you get it now? The statement was deafeningly silent. It felt completely inappropriate. Dr. Xiao was thought to be similar to its host at first, but it now appears that Dr. Xiao is very different from its host. Its host researches these topics for the benefit of the people. The announcement at 618 was deafeningly silent. It felt completely out of place. Dr. Xiao was thought to be similar to its host at first, but it now appears that Dr. Xiao is very different from its host. Its host studies these things for the people. In the end, Dr. Xiao just wanted to enjoy the status brought by his identity. The long silence of 618 made Drive Xiao laugh, and his laughter was a little overjoyed. You don't believe me? After hearing this, 618 even felt that the system was about to explode, and it no longer bothered Dr. Xiao because it is really impossible to guess his thought process. Every sentence that this person says is either true or false. Dr. Xiao continued the movement in his hand and stopped talking. The mouth hidden behind the mask could not help but evoke, and no one knew what he was thinking. After another month, the situation outside finally calmed down, and Xiao Qingrong's body was almost fully healed. He could have been discharged from the hospital a month ago, but Sun Shimin was really worried about Xiao Qingrong's body, so it was only now that he was discharged. The destination he went back to was Xiao Qingrong's villa. This villa was actually President Zhou's. At first, because President Zhou felt that Xiao Qingrong was their golden spoon, someone who made the company better and better, he sold the villa to Xiao Qingrong for half the price. Now this place is where Dr. Xiao has his home base. Qingrong, Xiaozheng, and Xiaozhang will come here every day. Tell them what you need. I requested a nutritional assessment for you. You must take good care of your body during this time, and we can discuss other matters later. You do not need to be concerned about the company, everything will be fine. Sun Shimin explained everything to Dr. Xiao. Sun Shimin was distressed and her own artist encountered such a thing. You stated that you wanted to change your major. I've already informed your school's principal. You're well known at your school, and since this has occurred, I'm afraid you won't be able to attend there any longer, so I found another university for you. Anyang Medical University has a good relationship with President Zhou, and he has donated a lot to the school, so this is where you will be going. Although she doesn't know why her artist suddenly switched majors, Sun Shimin also handled things very well. In fact, celebrities actually go to school for a short time, and they just hang their names at the school. Well, thank you, Sister Sunday. When President Zhou comes over, I will thank him. Dr. Xiao is very satisfied with these arrangements. After all, he is only 20 years old this year. He can't do too many things. 1 hour in the learning space equals 1 month in real life, and 1 day equals 1 year, so Xiao Qingrong feels that he can study more stuff. After Sun Shimin arranged everything, she returned to the company. After all, she also had a lot of things to do, including leaving Dr. Xiao and those assistants. How can you not be happy when you have food, drink, and shelter and can indulge in learning every day? Dr. Xiao then personally submitted a paper on the gene reproducible recombination factor to the prestigious British Medical Association, BMA, 3 months later. After all, he requires money in the real world as well. Although the learning environment can simulate everything, he cannot afford to waste time in reality. This finalized paper took Dr. Xiao 3 months to publish. Of course, the review cycle for this type of work is far too short, so Xiao Qingrong took advantage of the opportunity to submit several other papers to prestigious medical journals. In addition to gene-renewed recombination factors, several papers have been sent out, including ones on organ-soluble regeneration factors, artificial organ culture, and artificial organ culture growth factors. He must use these items to draw the attention of others. Of course, if someone is willing to invest in him, it is best. In time, these cloned viscera will be developed in reality, and he will then be able to do whatever he wants. Generally, for a medical journal, the review cycle is relatively long. The finalization could take up to 6 months. The same is true in foreign countries. Sometimes, because it is a foreign journal, various mistakes make the paper impossible to publish, so Dr. Xiao was not nervous at all. He worked hard in the classroom. After he came out, he did some exercises and then sorted out his thesis about the feasibility of the project. Although these things have been simulated countless times in the learning space, the reality is that there is still nothing in China, so in reality, if he wants to be able to do it, it will take more time. 4 months later, Xiao Qingrong received a reply from BMA. The paper on the gene reproducible recombination factor proposed by Xiao Qingrong has surprised many people in this association because it redefines the given nature of reconstructed organs. If gene regeneration can really have a perfect experimental result, it will have a huge impact on reconstructed organs. Half a month later, a sample of the article from BMA also arrived in Xiao Qingrong's hands. Looking at this thing, Xiao Qingrong took a picture and posted it on Weibo. Xiao Qingrong, BMA sent me a sample. The paper on gene replicable recombination factors is merely an introduction. I want to clone kidneys and create regenerative organs. The reactions of the fans were the first thing he saw when this Weibo post went live. They began writing down the words and pasting them into Baidu because they were in English. As a result, they were overjoyed to see the publication of this magazine. The British Medical Association, or BMA, is one of the world's 4 major medical organizations. Along with the New England Medical Journal (NEMJ), The Lancet, and the Journal of the American Medical Association, they are considered the world's top 4 medical journals, JAMA. The most important aspect is that this medical journal receives 7,000 to 8,000 manuscripts from all over the world each year, but only 7% are published, although the medical community's influence at home and abroad is enormous. So, for their idol to leave the entertainment industry but have his paper published by the BMA right away, what the fuck is going on? Although there has been no news of Xiao Qingrong in over a year, this does not mean that he has been forgotten. For the first time, the news was also discovered by the media. Although some people believe it is a hoax, the media has secretly called and asked some medical experts to determine whether it is a hoax or not. Xiao Qingrong is holding a sample journal. The real journal is published half a month later. The sample journal he exposed has made many people doubt, but some students who know medicine have secretly asked the instructor after seeing this, and they got an astonishing answer. From their instructor's answer, Xiao Qingrong's sample can never be fake. In other words, the submission he said is true, and this so-called gene reproducible recombination factor paper is also true. Su Qimin called after seeing her artist's Weibo and inquired about it. She didn't know much about these medical issues, but she was aware that her art had been preoccupied with studying medicine for the past 6 months. Even though he did not attend school, he purchased a large number of professional medical books, which she did not understand at the time. Sun Qimin couldn't believe it, even after Dr. Xiao downplayed it to a few words. The BMA has a big impact on the medical community. How many people have had their papers published by them in China? Her own art is not even 21 years old this year, but he got his paper published. After knowing this, Sun Qimin hurriedly told President Zhou about this. President Zhou also did not understand what was going on, so he asked the professor of his classmate, i.e., the president of Anyang Medical University. After seeing the picture on Weibo, the president of Anyang Medical University directly determined that this was true. He came to Xiao Qingrong's house and visited Xiao Qingrong that day. So, you also published Organic Soluble Regeneration Factor, Artificial Organ Culture, and Artificial Organ Culture Growth Factor with several other foreign publishers? Chen Mengwei, the president of Anyang Medical University, simply didn't know how to treat the super genius in front of him. He had always hoped that one of his students would be successful, and there is finally one who is. Moreover, he also published a paper in a famous foreign medical journal. There are these remaining papers. The thought of these papers not being published in their own country for the first time but abroad made Chen Mengwei angry. Yes, in addition to these, 4 other papers are being written, and I plan to continue to submit them. Xiao Qingrong feels that these so-called papers are actually of little value. After all, he has already seen the results of the experiments. These papers are a stepping stone at best. It is useless, so he might as well just publish it. Child, why don't you join a domestic medical journal? Although it is said that our domestic influence is not so great, the publication of these papers may change a lot of things in the medical world. You just sent this, and this abroad. Chen Mengwei investigated organ-soluble regenerating factors and growth factors in artificial organ culture. Just these 2 papers could change a lot of things in the medical world, but now that this paper has been submitted for the first time abroad, Chen Mengwei is visibly distressed as a result of this. Principal Chen, these are the simplest things I can write, and they are only a few of my ideas. I must put them into action. On this aspect of the practice, I already have my own data. This piece is highly valued by many people. Regarding my previous news, President Chen should be aware that I am missing 1 kidney and intend to create my own cloned kidney. Everything I'm learning right now is in preparation for this. The 2 papers on artificial organ culture growth factor and organ-soluble regenerating factor, for example, are not as simple as they appear in the paper. I already have a general plan for analyzing the factor data. If successful, human organs can continue to function for more than a week without the body, and you can even cultivate the organ you want using other body organs. Xiao Qingrong's words simply opened Chen Mengwei's eyes to a new world. Some may have proposed such a theory before this, but from a medical standpoint, such things were impossible to achieve. But now, Chen Mengwei has discovered a child who has devised a method to turn the impossible into a possibility. I'm here for you, kid. Anyang Medical University is also behind you. I understand that you are only registered at our school, but you are still a student there. Many people will probably want to invite you to travel abroad after this, but I hope you can think about it carefully. If you prefer, I can set up an independent laboratory at Anyang Medical University for you. You can be confident that I will keep my promise, and I will also assign you a large number of employees to help you with your experiments. Before Chen Mengwei came to Xiao Qingrong's house, he still wondered how a person who had never had contact with medicine suddenly wrote such a medical paper. However, when he came to Xiao Qingrong's house and saw the medical books that were lying on the ground, he immediately understood. It is known that there are always some geniuses in this world who can easily do things that others cannot do in their lives. Thank you, President Chen, but I plan to think about this first. Dr. Xiao declined President Chen's invitation. Anyang Medical University is good, but it is not the best. If he chooses a university in the country, he will only choose the best medical university in the country for experiments. Otherwise, he can only go abroad. Afterward, Xiao Qingrong took Principal Chen to visit his small lab. In the laboratory, the staff here was prepared by Xiao Qingrong over the past 6 months. He did not intend to use the full $500 million, but even after buying these things, it is still inadequate, and he wanted to show this to President Chen so he can help him out. Principal Chen posted Xiao Qingrong's Weibo on the official website of Anyang Medical University for the first time after leaving Xiao Qingrong's home. Anyang Medical University, congratulations to Xiao Qingrong, a first-year student in our school's medical department, for successfully submitting to the BMA, which will contribute to medicine's future. At this moment, everyone immediately exploded. This thing is true. Xiao Qingrong is not only a star, he is also a doctor. Not only does he study medicine, but he also contributes to the world's most authoritative medical journal. The domestic media heard the news and reported it crazily. The topic of gene-reproducible recombination factors became a hot topic in the domestic medical community after the BMA was published half a month ago. One by one, they can't wait to open the star's head and take a look, to see what's in it for him to write such a powerful paper all at once. The medical community will be greatly impacted if genes are proven to be reproducible. When everyone was shocked and wanted to discuss how their idol wrote such a thing, Xiao Qingrong's Weibo was updated once more. His updated Weibo was even more shocking this time. His paper, Artificial Organ Culture, Renewable Factors, was published in the Journal of the American Medical Association after the BMA. The goals of Xiao Qingrong's behavior are unclear to those outside the medical community, but they are clear to those within. Whether it is gene regeneration or artificial organ culture, it is clearly for him. He is a celebrity who has lost a kidney and is doing everything in his power to rebuild his internal organs.